Speech off. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Excuse the sound of the AC. It is 96 degrees in LA. I'm not turning it off. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm here to do another pottery video. I'm sorry I've not been consistent with these the way I promised. I was going to do one every couple of days. But ear infection is still going strong. So yeah, it's been real fun around here. Finished my course of antibiotics. I was okay for 2 days, 3 days, and today I woke up with it something again. So, yeah, real good. Good time. But we left off on our analysis of Chapter 9 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So this chapter is called Grim Defeat. Basically, Chapter 8 ended with us finding out that Sirius Black broke into the Gryffindor common room and destroyed the fat lady's painting. So, basically, they all spend the night in the Great Hall. Dumbledore congregates the entire school down there. He conjures up purple sleeping bags. Why do they have to be purple? Like, did he just pick the color scheme? Or what? Like, can't you have multicolored sleeping bags? And also, why sleeping bags? Why not just conjure up some beds and blankets and stuff? And, I mean, the hall's big enough, isn't it? Bunk beds? I don't know, something a little more comfy than on the floor? Or are the sleeping bags just enchanted to be comfy? Whatever, who cares? Oh, I actually wrote here, hey, Dumbles, how about some pillows while you're at it? Just sleeping bags? Come on, I need somewhere to lay my head. Also, Percy is really annoying. None of these kids have bedtimes anyway. Why does he care if they talk to each other? Like, I mean, no one, on a regular night in the common room, they literally just go to bed whenever they want, right? Like, there is literally no bedtime at Hogwarts. McGonagall is not ever in the common room. Like, I think the only time she ever told them off was when they were, like, partying. Well, it's actually in this book. They are celebrating a Quidditch win, and she tells them off for making noise at 3 in the morning. I'm assuming she can hear them wherever she sleeps. But, generally speaking, these kids are up till 2 in the morning and with zero supervision. So why is it a problem that the kids are talking about a very scary and kind of exciting thing? And suddenly they all have bedtimes? It's weird that he's, like, making it such a thing that they need to stop talking. I mean, I don't know about you, but if a murderer comes into my school, I'd be talking. Actually, no. We did have lockdowns where a shooter was in the school, and we were all freaking out and talking, and he wasn't in the school, he was kind of in the area. But as soon as, like, a lockdown or something like that happens, everybody's talking. No one's sleeping. Like, shut up, Percy. Anyway, at 3 in the morning, Dumbledore and Snape have this conversation about no one found Sirius Black, and here's some, I kind of quoted some of the conversation. You remember the conversation we had, Headmaster, just before the start of term, said Snape, who was barely opening his lips as though trying to block Percy out of the conversation. I do, Severus, said Dumbledore, and there was something like warning in his voice. It seems almost impossible that Black could have entered the school without inside help. I did express my concerns when you appointed. I do not believe a single person inside this castle would have helped Black enter it, said Dumbledore, and his tone made it clear that the subject was closed, so Snape didn't reply. Obviously, Snape thinks Lupin let him in. He didn't, but he was kind of keeping the fact that they were animagi from people, which is probably not great. And again, Harry saw him at the Quidditch game later, well, in this chapter, later on, and he saw him at, like, he's been seeing this dog, and he was going to tell Lupin in the last chapter, and he didn't. Like, I wonder what Lupin would have done if Harry had told him. Would he have blurted out the whole secret? Anyway, Sir Cadogan replaces the fat lady and spends all of his time challenging people to duels and changing up the passwords at the last minute. and Neville has to write them down. This will come back later. Professor McGonagall summons Harry to her office to tell him that Sirius Black is after him and that he can't practice Quidditch. This made me wonder how Wood would have reacted if Harry hadn't convinced her to let him play. I mean, can you imagine, like, his reaction in his last year that his star seeker can't play because someone's after him? But yeah. Anyway, Harry actually tells her, yeah, I already know. I overheard the Weasleys arguing about it. I know. It's fine. Wood finds out that they're not playing Slytherin in this first game and are playing Hufflepuff instead. Enter Cedric Diggory. Wood, yeah, everyone kind of has, all the girls have a crush on him. I forgot about that. Wood makes Harry late to Defense Against the Dark Arts class, and it's just his bad luck that Snape is a substitute teacher for the day. And Snape wants to teach him about werewolves, which we later find out is so that someone will rat Lupin's condition out. But the funny thing is he didn't count on them refusing to do their homework, so they're therefore not figuring it out at all. Like, everyone hates you, Snape. Like, did you the only one who did figure it out is Hermione, who was Muggle-born and didn't realize there even was a stigma, so she never, like, brought it to anyone's attention. But yeah. In the Snape book, the author actually says it's called Snape. I forget. It's by Laurie Kim. You can find it. But she says it. She kind of wonders if Snape was counting on Hermione figuring it out. Like, he hates the girl, but he wants, you know, he knows that she's kind of a snitch and she's really smart, so she'd figure it out. So she'd report it. Anyway. On another note, I get that I'm supposed to be Team Hermione when it comes to Snape calling her a know-it-all, but does she not take a hint? Like, I'm actually on Snape's side. Stop raising your hand and giving him instructions. Like, you cannot just shut up. You really can't. She's a glutton for punishment, and, like, at some point, I just stop feeling sorry for her. Like, you deserve it a little bit. You're annoying. Ron gets attention for defending Hermione, which, I mean, good friend, I guess. He has to scrub the bedpans in the hospital wing without magic, and that kind of sucks. Ugh. Also, thought we had indoor plumbing. And I want to know what swear word Ron called Snape. It's a name that the author wouldn't repeat. I sort of want an updated edition of the books with the swear words included. You know, I find it really annoying when, like, Christian fiction authors, they do it better because they say, this person cursed, and they don't, like, specifically say what the curse is, but Rowling just, like, hints at it, so you just want to know what the word is. It's annoying. On the day of the Quidditch match, Harry gets woken up at 4 a.m. by Peeves and curses him, another swear word. I want to know what he said. He curses him out for waking him up. I need to know what he says. Then he spots Crookshanks trying to go after Scabbers again. It's a rainy day, so they're playing Quidditch in a huge rainstorm, which is very difficult because it's hard to see, and they're flying around in the wind and the rain. Hermione waterproofs Harry's glasses, which is kind of cool. And Harry eventually, when he's flying around, he sees the black dog in the stands. And then enter Dementors, and Harry falls 150 feet off his broom because his Dementors come onto the Quidditch pitch. And at the time that Harry was falling, Diggory got the snitch. And next thing you know, we're in the hospital wing. I wonder if we're going to see, like, Dumbledore losing his mind in the TV show. Because we hear about it, kind of how angry he was from Ron and Hermione when Harry's in the hospital wing. But we don't actually get to see it because Harry's unconscious. Anyway, Ron and Hermione and the Quidditch team are in the hospital wing with Harry when he wakes up. from his fainting spell, and Wood is in the showers instead of hanging out with them, and the twins make a joke that they think he's trying to drown himself. I don't even think that's a joke, honestly. Like, the man is crazy about Quidditch. He probably would try to drown himself over a Quidditch game. His Nimbus 2000 got blown away into the Whomping Willow, and R.I.P. Broomstick. I still want to know who bought him the broom in the first place. If it was McGonagall, buy him another one. Like, everybody thinks it's McGonagall just because the note was from her, but I have a really hard time believing it, or he would have had a new broom. Like, did she take money out of his vault? I need to know. Chapter 10, The Marauders Map. Oof, here's where we get interesting. Harry, we find out that Harry figures out who the screaming he hears in his head is when the Dementors are near him. He realizes it's his mother. And, like, you know, trying to save him. And Lupin keeps him after class to kind of see how he's doing, and Harry tells him about it, and Lupin almost comforts him. And again, why is it such a secret that he knew his parents? Like, this is why I just don't get the Lupin love that everybody else has. Like, oh, he's this great father figure to Harry and all that stuff. It's like, I like him as a teacher. He's a good teacher, but he never, like, tried to be anything but Harry's teacher until, like, only if he had him in front of him, he was giving advice and he was there, but, like, he wasn't going out of his way for him like Sirius was. He didn't write to him later. Like, he's just, this entire year, he could have been getting to know him as James's son, but he doesn't. It's just weird. Anyway, Harry asks him for Dementor defense lessons, how to defeat a Dementor, and yeah, Lupin agrees to do it after Christmas, but he's not feeling well. Ron and Hermione decide to stay with Harry over Christmas. I didn't notice in previous readings that the rest of the Weasleys actually went home. Like, I don't know why it didn't register to me that Ron and Hermione were the only ones from, like, there were, like, two of very few kids who actually stayed for Christmas. There was, like, 5 of them, maybe. But yeah, like, the rest of the Weasleys went home. And, yeah, I guess, I don't know, it's just weird. Also, Hermione, once again, ditching her parents. I'm going to keep a count of every time Hermione ditches her parents for the Wizarding World, because she's a terrible daughter. I stand by it. You are a terrible daughter. There's one more Hogsmeade weekend before the Christmas break, and Harry is going to stay behind again, and he runs into the twins, who give Harry the Marauders map. I wonder if they ever found out who the real Marauders are. Like, we never hear about it, and they were, like, their role models. It's kind of cool. I'm just going to read this because it's very funny. Well, when we were in our first year, Harry, young, carefree, and innocent, Harry snorted. He doubted whether Fred and George had ever been innocent. Also, I wonder how the twins figured out how the map even worked. Like, you open it by saying, I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. Like, how do you... Does it give them instructions if they're, like, true pranksters or something? It's not an obvious phrasing. They tell Harry about the secret passages to get into Hogsmeade. And, yeah, he takes the one into Honeydukes through the One-Eyed Witch. And he gets to Hogsmeade. And I love the description of all the candy. So I'm going to read it. There were shelves upon shelves of the most succulent-looking sweets imaginable. Creamy chunks of nougat, shimmering pink squares of coconut ice, fat honey-colored toffees, hundreds of different kinds of chocolate in neat rows. There was a large barrel of every flavor beans and another of fizzing Whizbees, the levitating sherbets balls that Ron had mentioned. Along yet another wall were special effects sweets. Drubal's best blowing gum, which filled a room with blue bell-colored bubbles that refused to pop for days. The strange, splintery, tooth-flossing string mints, Tiny black pepper imps, breathe fire for your friends. Why would you want to do that? Ice mice, hear your teeth chatter and squeak. Again, nobody wants to do that. Peppermint cream shaped like toads. Hop realistically in the stomach. Again, why? That sounds horrifying. Fragile sugar spun quills and exploding bonbons. Harry squeezed himself through a crowd of 6 years and saw a sign hanging in the farthest corner of the shop. Unusual tastes. Ron and Hermione were standing underneath it, examining a tray of blood-flavored lollipops. Harry sneaked up behind them. Ugh, no, Harry won't want one of those. They're for vampires, I expect, Hermione was saying. How about these, said Ron, shoving a jar of cockroach clusters under Hermione's nose. Definitely not, said Harry. I mean, I understand that this isn't exactly a date, but, man, Ron is terrible. Like, that is not how you impress a girl, even though I don't think that's necessarily what he was trying to do. But, man. Like, if you're alone with a girl you potentially have a crush on, how about, I don't know, not shoving cockroach clusters under her nose? They actually make this scene kind of a little more romantic in the movie, which is funny. Like, they're a little awkward and cute with each other. Anyway, they leave Honeydukes and go to the Three Broomsticks to try butterbeer. Ron has a crush on Madame Rosmerta, which Hermione is not too happy about. And then they have to hide from the teachers who come in to have a drink. Are all these teachers just getting, like, I understand maybe it's one drink, whatever. But still, like, chill. You run a school. You should only be able to get drunk in the summer. Then they start talking about, oh yeah, and Fudge is with them too. It's McGonagall, Hagrid, Flitwick, Fudge, and Rosmerta. And Hagrid? Did I say Hagrid? Anyway. They start talking about Sirius Black. We learned that Sirius and James were best friends, and Sirius was best man at their wedding and made Harry's godfather. I wonder if there's a godfather ritual in the wizarding world. Like, or is it just, will you be godfather? Yeah, sure. Do they have, like, wizarding church? Dumbledore alerted James and Lily to go into hiding and to use the Fidelius charm. Basically, the way it works is you have a secret keeper, and only the secret keeper can tell where they are, and no one else can see where the house is, unless the secret keeper lets them in on it. So we find out that Sirius has made the secret keeper. Okay, I said that. Dumbledore was worried that someone had been keeping Voldemort informed of their movements and offered to be the secret keeper himself. But James insisted on using Sirius. Honestly, he should have used Dumbledore, even though I have my issues with him. But, yeah. Anyway, then a week later, Voldemort found them. And, yeah, I am curious, like, when were they convinced they had to hide and they were only hiding for a week? Like, what happened during Harry's first year? I never really registers for me that it's only a week from the time the Fidelius charm was placed to the time that they died. Like, did Dumbledore finally tell them about the prophecy because James was being too reckless or something? And that's, because, like, James is reckless, let's face it. Like, he's kind of dumb and, well, reckless. And he probably would need a huge scare to agree to be in hiding and not be able to come out. And I think in the letter that Lily sent to Sirius that we see in book 7, she says that James is getting restless. So, I don't know. Anyway, Hagrid's quote here is interesting. "Filthy, stinking turncoat," Hagrid said so loudly that half the bar went quiet. "Shh," said Professor McGonagall. "I met him," growled Hagrid. "I must have been the last to see him before he killed them all people." I'm not doing Hagrid's growl. "It was me what rescued Harry from Lily and James' house after they was killed. Just got him out of the rubble, poor little thing, with a great slash across his forehead, and his parents dead, and Sirius Black turns up on that flying motorbike he used to ride. Never occurred to me what he was doing there. I didn't know he'd been Lillian James's secret keeper. Thought he'd just heard the news, a you-know-who's attack, and come to see what he could do. White and shaken he was. And you know what I did? I comforted the murdering traitor, Hagrid roared. Hagrid, please, said Professor McGonagall, keep your voice down. How was I to know he wasn't upset about Lillian James? It was you-know-who he cared about. And then he says, give Harry to me, Hagrid. I'm his godfather. I'll look after him. Ha! But I had me orders from Dumbledore, and I told Black no. Dumbledore said Harry was to go to his aunt and uncle's. Black argued, but in the end he gave in. Told me to take his motorbike to get Harry there. I won't need it anymore, he said. I should have known there was something fishy going on then. He loved that motorbike. What was he giving it to me for? Why wouldn't he need it anymore? Fact was, it was too easy to trace. Dumbledore knew he'd been the Potter's secret keeper. Black knew he was going to have to run for it that night. Knew it was a matter of hours before the Ministry was after him. But what if I'd given Harry to him, eh? I bet he'd pitched him off the bike halfway out to sea. His best friend's son. But when a wizard goes over to the dark side, there's nothing and no one that matters to him anymore. And what I wrote here was funny. You would have probably given Harry a better childhood, Hagrid. And to Sirius's credit, he was trying to be, like, we know how this ends, right? This is spoilery. He was trying to be responsible. If anything, Hagrid could have stopped him from going after Peter. We know how this ends. This is spoilery. So this is why I wanted it to be spoilery. Once we get into these books, it gets too hard to act vague. Yeah, like, he tried. And when Hagrid said no, like, he was really going to fight him, he couldn't win. Physically. Hagrid would have just punched him in the head. But if he'd gotten Harry, maybe things would have been different. Lots of fan fictions have him explaining everything to Dumbledore and raising Harry himself. But then you could also look at it the other way, where Sirius was willing to hand Harry over to the Dursleys and more interested in killing Peter. So, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I love the fanfics where Sirius raises Harry. I don't know what would have happened. I don't like to think that Sirius would have allowed it if he had been out of prison. So, I am of the opinion, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm not a Dumbledore fan, and I think Dumbledore is always out for the greater good, and he wants things to go a certain way and doesn't like to lose control. So I think it was definitely very convenient for Sirius to be in prison. Like, he wasn't going to help him. He helped Snape, let's face it. And Snape was a full-fledged Death Eater. Like, I mean, with the evidence there, I guess so was Sirius, but, like, who knows all the things Snape did, and Dumbledore was just convinced he was a good guy because he had a thing for Lily, and he, like, kept him out of Azkaban. I just don't buy that Dumbledore had no influence over Sirius's getting a trial or anything. Like, I think it was convenient for him to have Harry with the Dursleys, and Sirius wouldn't have allowed that. Sirius was too much of a stumbling block against his plans. So, I'm not saying I think he knew he was innocent, but I don't think he was going to try too hard either, because it worked out for him. Anyway, they say, Peter went after Sirius, and Sirius blew up the street and killed Peter, and all that they found of him was his finger. And Peter got an Order of Merlin for his class, which is a comfort to his mother. I wonder if his mother is still alive. Oops, the phone is ringing. Sorry, I can't do anything about it. Hey. Go away. You're nobody. I wonder if Peter's mother is still alive, and if she ever found out that Peter was a Death Eater, and whatever happened to the medal. Because I'm pretty sure that Tom Riddle still has his Order of Merlin in the trophy room, even after. So, anyway, Chapter 11, The Firebolt. Harry goes back to Hogwarts and up to his room, and he's looking for his pictures of his parents, and he finds a picture of his parents' wedding and identifies the best man, Sirius. And yeah, he thinks he looks like happy, and he kind of wonders, like, was he already planning on betraying them in this picture? Was he just faking the joy or whatever? Ron and Harry try to convince him not to go after Sirius Black. And Harry kind of rightfully says, like, you don't know what it's like. You have parents. You don't know what it feels like to find out that someone could have potentially betrayed them, and now, which they don't. They finally convince Harry to go to Hagrid's, and they find out that Buckbeak's set to stand trial. Hagrid is bawling his eyes out, and yeah, they offer to help, which lasts approximately 2 days before Christmas morning. Crookshanks comes into the room and tries to attack Scabbers again. No, Crookshanks doesn't even come into the room. Hermione brings him into the room. Like, again, this Crookshanks thing, I'll get to that, I guess. Never mind. I'll get to that rant later. Harry gets a firebolt for Christmas, and they debate who gave it to him. Harry says teachers can't show favoritism, but who does he assume gave him the Nimbus? Like, who does he think that broom is from? Does he just assume that McGonagall got out of his vault? It's just a mystery that'll never be solved. Hermione sees the broom and doesn't want Harry riding it because it could be jinxed. Honestly, Harry should have just flown the broom in the dormitory just to prove that it was okay, even if it was reckless, because it would have avoided this next fight that they have. Like, they should have just tested it out. Like, why are you so dumb? Well, I mean, I guess testing it out would have been dumb too, but, like, anyway. Crookshanks goes for Scabbers again. Okay, I did actually talk about this in this chapter. She brings him up to the room. And that is why I just have no sympathy for her when Ron is angry at her and she won't apologize for Crookshanks supposedly eating Scabbers. Because she doesn't care. She keeps bringing the cat into his room and then expecting Ron to just be cool with, like, the cat trying to eat his rat. Yeah, Hagrid says later that animals do what animals do, but you are bringing this animal to the rat yourself. Like, you live in a giant castle. There are probably 50,000 other rats you could be eating. Go outside. Go eat a centaur or something. Okay, don't eat a centaur. That's just creepy. Sorry. I like centaurs. Go eat one of Aragog's kids. Scabbers. It'll do us all a favor. There's only a few kids staying, so they all eat family style at one table, which is funny. Snape pulls a Christmas cracker with Dumbledore, and a witch's hat with a stuffed vulture comes out of it, which is hilarious. I want to try those Christmas crackers. I've never seen them. Sounds fun. Then Trelawney comes in and panics because there's 13, and the first one to get up will die. She also says that Professor Lupin will not be with us much longer. I mean, she's kind of right in both senses of the word. He only teaches for a year, and spoiler alert for later. Sir Cadogan is having a drunken Christmas party when they get back to the common room, which is funny. Like, how does that work? How do pictures get drunk? I mean, I guess, like, if you keep drinking a thing of wine, a picture of wine, Then, but it never ends. It's a picture. So, are you just constantly drunk? Anyway, Hermione tells McGonagall about the firebolt, then hides her face when McGonagall takes it away. Like, and I wrote, hey Hermione, if you're gonna be a snitch, do it with your chest and don't hide. You are a wimp. And I do not feel sorry for you. Sorry, not sorry. Should we end it here? Let's see. Chapter 12 is the Patronus. This one's kind of long. Yeah, we're going to leave it here. 3 chapters is good. We'll do another few later. In a couple days. So, yeah. I don't know. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I might get some hate for my Dumbledore hate, but it's only going to get worse from here. If you like him, maybe don't watch, because, yeah. Me and him aren't friends. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye! Stop recording video.